Okay, now the spine line, which is also called the headline, reveals the health of your spine. And it'll show if you have problems with vertebrae or discs in your back. It will show if they are subluxated. And what this means is they're turned out of place or they could be damaged. Or you could have a condition such as scoliosis or a twisting of the spine. It starts right there between the thumb and index finger, or the Jupiter finger, and travels across the palm just under the Mercury finger. Now, pull up your spine chart. It's called the Chart of Effects of Spinal Misalignment, and that section underneath the index finger, if you're on your spine line underneath the Jupiter finger, that represents your cervical spine, kind of that neck area, that 1C to 7C, and it goes down to what's called the Dowager's hump. This is the hump that you see in older folks when they're walking around and they're kind of bent over there at the neck, just under the bottom of the neck and the top of the back. That's where your cervical spine is. Then the area just underneath that Saturn or that middle finger is your thoracic spine. This is your 1T down to your 12T. That's the back that goes all the way down to your waist. Then there's that area underneath the sun finger or the ring finger, and that's your lumbar area. This is 1L to 5L. This is kind of your waist and your hips. Then, of course, you go down to your sacrum and your coccyx to the tailbone, which is underneath that little or that Mercury finger. Let me tell you a little bit about Kat has a master's degree in health education, and when she was going to college, she was developing her craft in hand analysis, and she came across a book from a longtime doctor, Dr. Eugene Scheinman, and he talked about how your spinal health absolutely shows in your hands, and working with Kat over the years, it's proven to be very real and accurate. And I always get a little chuckle when I hear back on some of the past clients that have taken their charts to their chiropractor or their physical therapist and having an evaluation, and the medical care provider was amazed how spot on the charts were. Okay, let's look at your chart. If you look over there on the left-hand side of your chart, you'll see an image of a spine, and you can see where Kat circled some of the vertebrae. And you'll notice at the top of that spine line, that 1C down through 5C, that's kind of almost all the way down through the neck, is turned out of place. Let's see. Oh, you didn't say if you had any damage in that spine in your information or not. But you definitely have some issues with those either being turned out of place or misaligned. And then that 1T, that top thoracic down to the 6T, that's kind of right in the middle of your back between your shoulder blades. You've got some issues there. And then the 10T down to the 1L, down to the lumbar. You've got some misalignment there. Now if you look over to the right, you'll see the areas column, and that'll show what parts of the body that affects when you've got issues in that spine. Then of course the effects all the way over to the right will show you what kind of symptoms you can have when those are turned out of place or when you have damage or any issues there. Now we talked a little bit earlier about that headline and having some depression or some anxiety. Well, when that 1C in the top of the spine is out, that can definitely contribute to depression. Along with that 2T, when that's out, that can definitely get some anxiety going, a little bit of chronic fatigue. And we talked about that heart line where you'd had a little bit of stress on that. When you have that 2T out, well, that really causes chaos sometimes. It puts a little more stress on that heart than necessary. So you can kind of look up and down this chart and see if you have any of the other symptoms. You can see what might contribute to that with some of these vertebrae being out of place. And I'll tell you what we usually suggest is to get into a good chiropractor or even a good physical therapist is even better, and have them see if they can't get that realigned and get that energy flowing down through that spine really good. And when you have that 1C out, you want to find somebody that knows craniosacral work, because what they'll do is they'll go up into the roof of the mouth and adjust those plates where all those nerves are, and that gives them a little better access to get that 1C put back into place. We find a lot of times that when people get those realigned, that they just have a lot more energy, a lot more ambition, and they just feel a lot better during the day. So that's something to consider. And I've seen many of Kat's clients and people she's done readings for, they'll take these charts down and show it to their doctors, and it's kind of a funny story how people will come back and their doctors are just amazed how accurate these spine charts are.